Welcome back everybody to another edition of Knives of Note. Tonight I've got a really special knife for you that I'd like to share with you. This here is a knife from a very special maker. His name was Abraham Davey. And for those of you that are unfamiliar with Abraham Davey, he was the maker of a knife that was actually on John Wilkes Booth the night that he stabbed Major Rathbone after shooting Abraham Lincoln. So now he didn't really stab Major Rathbone with this knife. No. He stabbed Major Rathbone with this knife. It says Rio Grande on it, and basically it was a Rio Grande camp knife. Those are pretty popular knives to have. Also, they've got a picture of Abraham Davey's knife. The maker, Abraham Davey, A. Davey. Now, this is the same maker that made this knife. Now, the reason why this is so special is not because the maker was, one of his other knives was in the pocket of the person who assassinated one of our presidents. No, this knife is before that. This knife here is an A. Davey Spring Lane Special. Now, that dates it, okay? So what that tells you is that Abraham Davey, he basically went on to become A. Davey and Sons. Then he became A. Davey's Exchange Works, and that was circa 1836 to 1870. This here is before he had Sons. This is when he was on Spring Lane, and it just dates how special the knife is. It's a very rare. It's at the beginning of his career, and what you've got here, let me show you. This here is one of his finest works, or one of his finer works, okay? And this here is made by Abraham Davey, A. Davey, trademark, Superior Cutlery. That might give you another little clue. Is 4 7/8 lockback dirk with a single blade, sharpened on one edge only, and with a false edge along the entire top of the blade. And the top bolsters are nickel silver, pinched and threaded with some file work. The knife features two-piece pearl handles with fancy scalloping and carving overall. And you can see it right there. And this is in the Sheffield Exhibition Knives. Now, let's talk about some of the discrepancies of the knife and what I find that seem to be odd or past repairs. And some of these repairs I'm guilty of doing, and I want to show them and record them for history's sake on this episode. And basically what I did is I made it still evident that I did repair it, and I'll tell you how I did it. Okay, first off, when I got this knife, this piece was missing. I mean, there was a pin here, and the scale was being held on by that pin in place, which doesn't seem to be an original pin, because the original pins are gold, and this one is silver, and it's fatter. And so what I did was, to keep the scale in place because it was loose, was I took it to my dentist. I looked everywhere to find out how I could repair or keep it as original as possible. And then it hit me. This is bone. This is probably elephant ivory. That right there is not of the knife. It's as you can plainly see there. And I have a suspicion that this is not an original pin either. I have a feeling that somebody replaced the pin at one time. I could be wrong. I don't know. That looks... I don't think Abraham Davy would have messed it up that bad. You know what I mean? So anyway, let's go back to my repair job. On the other side. This was an early knife. It's very, very old, okay? And when I got it, you can see my repair job on both sides here. And this was done by a dentist, okay? When I was getting my cavity filled, I said, hey, how deep color does that porcelain go? And he dyed it and made it as close to the color as possible. And he filled it in there, and he lightly, rounded it off. Didn't touch any of the metal for me. I mean, I stressed to him how important it was to make it, keep it as original as possible. But basically, this whole piece of scale was falling off because those pins, you could see it was just barely holding it in there right in the middle. And this whole thing was just, it was in tatters, and I wanted to save this, this knife. So once again, that pin is in there. It came with the knife, so didn't touch it, but I did fill in to keep the scale in place. And also, this was missing. This little brass rod cut piece was missing. As you can see, these two are original. And what I did was, when I was at the knife show, I saw the same rod and it actually fit in the hole, and I was like, oh man. So I bought the rod and I went home, I cut it off a little piece and it fit right in. I didn't use any glue or nothing. So it can come out if someone wants to do that, and my repair can come off if someone wants to do that, without damaging the knife in any other way. But as you can see, it saved the knife, it preserved the knife. You can see a difference in the knife scale, and that is what I'm shooting for. I don't want it to be to where it's been totally replaced, because that just totally lowers the value. But this way, you've still got original stuff here, you see, and you still keep the value of the knife. So let's go ahead and set the camera down, and I'm going to open it up for you, and we will examine the blade. Still pretty sharp. It's got a little bit of wiggle. So it's a little, it is loose. It's probably because, the poor repair job there by whoever that was, because I really honestly don't think that's original. That's an original pin. Okay, there's a close-up of the file work that you can see on the nail nick there. It's very interesting. Very interesting little teeth marks. Very intricately done. Very impressive. Of the best quality. There's a close-up of the best quality for you. And there's a close-up of that middle pin and the Liberty and Union nickel guard. Here you can see the replacement pin and the cavity filler, so to speak, from the dentist. There's a close-up of the original two inserts. An original pin. Oh, I know that one's original. That one could be in question. And that one seems to be original. Here's a close-up of the bottom bolster. Eight stars. Bottom pin almost looks, it might be replaced, I don't know. Yeah, there you can see it. There's a close-up of the stamp. A. Davy, Spring Lane, Sheffield. Liberty and Union on the back too. Notice the pin. Here's repair work that I did. This was an existing pin when I bought it. It was holding the scale in place. I just had my dentist fill this part in. As you can see, there's grains, so it's not walrus. And a couple more original pins. There's the eagle. Nice good close-ups for you. There you go. So that's it, guys. But anyway, it's a beautiful knife. And let me measure it real quick for you guys. It is 10 1/4 inches. So it is a 10 1/4 inch Civil War Bowie knife, folding Bowie. And now that I know that, you know, this was the maker that was basically responsible for superior cutlery and you know, was in John Wilkes Booth's pocket when he assassinated Abraham Lincoln. You know, just all this history gets tied to this knife, and I'm just like, holy cow, this is a really special knife, especially when you realize that it's before all of that time frame, because it's just a plain A. Davy Spring Lane Sheffield and not A. Davy and Sons or the Exchange Works. So once you start to realize that, you know, that's when it starts to get a little exciting. So anyway, thought I'd share it. Hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it inspires you guys to go out there, chase your dreams and share your dreams, and we'll make this world a better place. Take care, guys. Bye.